everybody, you're watching Cole the Corn Star, and welcome to the 100% restoration and remodel of my great-great-grandfather's $7,000 mansion. Today, we are going to be laying down rebar in the underground movie theater. So for today's plan of attack, to help keep us on track, Roman and I developed a get done list. So number one on the list, we need to plan, and then once we have a plan, then we're gonna execute. Then once we execute, we'll get the job done. Okay, that was kidding. In all seriousness, we do have a real list for today. So our actual plan of attack is we are going to have a load of rebar come in a little bit, so we are gonna get that unloaded. Once we get that unloaded, we need to figure out a plan of how we are actually going to go about setting our rebar up and building the rebar cage that we are trying to make. And then once we get that plan in place, then we are gonna be spending the rest of the day preparing all the pieces of rebar and then actually getting them laid down.
Finally, we have a morning that started as planned with the delivery of the rebar, and now it's all up to us to get everything done, because we should have everything now to form our rebar structure and then get to pouring. Thank you, delivery person, for rebar. Now we can get started.
Holy cow, look at this rebar. This is number 7, so it is 7/8 of an inch thick. The rebar that I have used for basically my entire life is this number 4, so this is 4/8 or half of an inch thick. So that is our number 7 compared to our number 4. And this stuff is going to be going inside of the walls, and it's gonna make sure that the dirt that's pushing against the wall does not allow the bottom of the wall to be able to push in. So this is extremely important. This is extremely strong, it's extremely heavy, and well, one of these sticks of number 4 that's 20 feet long is $6.90. One of these sticks that is 20 feet long is $20. So all in all, we have 4 bundles of number 7 sitting right here. And then over here, we have 6 more bundles of number 7. There is a bundle of number 6. We have a bundle of number 4. We have a half a bundle of number 4. And then it looks like we have a partial bundle of number 6. And last but not least, we cannot forget about our 2 bundles of number 4 down here. So it pretty much goes without saying, we have a lot of rebar. Now that we have our rebar unloaded, we need to come up with a game plan of how we are actually going to lay it down in the footings of the underground movie theater, because the last thing that we want to do is take all of that rebar that we just ordered and spend a couple days getting things laid out and then find out that we did it wrong and then have to pull it all out and redo it. We want to just do it right the first time. Please bear with me here because I am not the world's best drawer, but this is a diagram of the trench footing that we currently have dug in the underground movie theater. So this black part, that is the form board that we have up on the top, and then the blue lines are the rebar that we currently have sitting on the bottom. So what we need to do for our rebar is we need to get our pieces that run across like this laid in. And that's the easy part to figure out. The hard part to figure out is we have a bottom mat, but we also need to do this exact same thing, but up here, 3 inches from the top. So we need to somehow lay down our stuff up here, and then our pieces going across up here, and maintain this distance between, keep it off of the ground on the bottom, and then also keep it 3 inches from the top of this blackboard. So we need to figure out how we are going to do all that, all without having to drive anything actually down into the ground. We could easily take some pieces of rebar and just drive them down into the soil like so, and then just tie everything to this rebar, and we'd be able to hold it up fine and dandy. But the problem with that would be over time, this rebar would start to rust since it's in contact with the soil, and then it would work its way up inside of the concrete, and then it would affect all of this other rebar, and then it would spread, and then eventually that concrete would fail because of that. So we don't have the option of doing that. So the hard part of our plan here is figuring out how do we set up this entire mat and hold everything off the bottom, keep everything off the top, keep everything nice and straight, and do it in a timely and efficient manner. Oh, and I also forgot to mention that big number 7 rebar that we have to cut those pieces and then bend the bottoms of them at a 90-degree angle, tie that to the bottom mat of rebar that we have, and then stick it up through the top, so that way it'll be sticking out the top of the footing, so that way when we pour our foundation wall, all of these number 7s will be poking up through into the foundation wall to tie the footing to the foundation wall. So we have to also figure out how to support all this so that way it doesn't sag, because we are going to have 2 of these number 7s every 12 inches throughout the entire thing. So that is going to be a significant amount of weight. So to say that we have our work cut out for us it's a bit of an understatement.
So one of the solutions to our problem is going to be building stirrups. We still don't know if they're gonna work for sure, but it feels like it's the most likelihood that it will be a go. So we have a piece of number 6 rebar. We have our trench at 48 inches. So I went around and measured that we need a stick at 40, then it goes up at 11, comes back to 40 and bends back to 11. Okay, let's start marking it out. Our paint marker is at 40 inches, 11, another 40, which is gonna be 91. So plus 11, 92, 102. And a little piece that will kind of grab it around. You'll see what I'm talking about after it's being bent. So unfortunately, I'm missing out on the arm wrestling workout bending these pieces, but a little bit of a workout is going to be lifting this 70-pound piece every time we need to cut the rebar. It's actually
that is a rebar cutter, and yes, it weighs 70 pounds. It doesn't look like it because Roman's super strong, but
basically shears it.
Holy cow, that is incredible. Wow. I made a purchase decision on that thing by watching a YouTube video.
Now, Cole,
it actually works.
Don't get excited and start chopping it randomly. Then this gives us a nice level platform, or as level as possible. That's because we are trying to bend this in the same plane, and this gives us a nice reference point.
So you're basically trying to bend it in a square, right?
Yeah, circle square. Okay, there's our first mark.
So you're lining that up center?
Yeah, kind of. This is dead center.
Okay.
And squeeze the trigger. That's the only workout on this part. And then I have this square. And I learned with this one, you need to overbend it because when you release, it comes back a little bit. Somewhere there is a release lever. And it comes back almost perfect, but it doesn't have to be perfect.
I am just amazed at how well this works. That is incredible.
Yep. It will help us because we'll have to do it a lot of times today. So this little piece is gonna serve us as a connecting spot to secure everything so it's nice and sturdy.
So we're gonna try to make enough to have one every 5 feet right here on this footing next to us, so that way we can go down there, try to make our bottom mat, our top mat, and then see if it actually works. And then if it does, then we need to make one every 5 feet for the entire footing system of the underground movie theater. couple stirrups took a little bit of head scratching. Roman got it figured out in about no time though. Then we made a little assembly line, and it did not take us too long to get 15 of them put together. So we figured before we got too wild making a bunch of them, we should come down and make sure that they are actually going to work. So it's going to look something like what we have here. We're gonna have our rebar chairs underneath these number 4s on the bottom, holding it 2 inches off of the ground. And then we'll be able to come in with a rebar tire. We'll connect all these joints to the number 4s, so that will hold this here. And then we'll be able to take our top mat right here. I don't know if we're gonna go in on the bottom or the top yet. We can decide that later. But then this should be able to hold our top mat up off of the bottom. So I think this is going to work.
Smoked ribs and a chunk of meat from the previous smoke. I just wanted to make sure we haven't...
Wait. Chunk of meat from the previous smoke. What's that supposed to mean? Is it possum, roadkill, raccoon?
No, just a pig.
Okay. You got to double check with Roman on some of these things because you might not know what you're eating.
Beavers are good.
You've had beaver before?
Yeah. Have you?
No, never beaver.
Yeah. Ask Nick for a beaver. We'll cook it, smoke it, the whole thing. Now we have a smoker. Smoke the whole thing. We are now done with lunch, so we're gonna try to get our first bit of rebar set up. We're actually going to go into this one and set this one up first. This back one right here would be where we would like to start, but we have 2 things kind of working against us. Thing number 1, we need to shave a few more inches off this trench to get it to the exact 48-inch width that we are looking for. And then number 2, we have a 100% chance of rain in 2 days, and we do not know how heavy that is going to be. If it's too heavy, we could get a little bit of washing going down the side right here, and this could potentially fill in a little bit, meaning we would need to come in and dig it out. So we really would not like to get everything all set up 100% into place and then have it rain and fill in a little bit. Then we'd have to come in here and somehow try to get that scooped out. So we're gonna do our trial and error testing over on this one. We should be able to get everything done here in the middle. And well, if we get this all done today, then I guess we can address that over there. But I have a feeling we're gonna be pretty busy with what we have over here today. This is a first time activity for Roman and I, but we were able to get some of these chairs underneath our bottom pieces of number 4 rebar. So we got the bottom mat off of the ground. And then we got one little spot right here where we took one of the stirrups that we just bent. And we got that laid into place. And then we got it all tied down with rebar tires. So now it's nice and strong. And then we are taking some little cross pieces like this to help just support it, keep it held up and down. And then we'll be able to take our next rebar mat and put it right here and then just tie it to this top bar. So we're gonna have one of these bars every so many feet throughout to be able to catch everything. We don't know the exact spacing that we're gonna run on them yet. I guess we're just gonna run a little bit of trial and error. These are not a structural setup, at least the entire square area is not a structural. We are going to be using the piece that goes perpendicularly as a structural piece. So it's kind of doing 2 purposes here. It's holding the mats apart, but it's also being the cross member for the rebar. I'm not really sure the physics behind how this works, but this is the cross piece for the bottom, and then this will be the cross piece for the top. Having never done this before, we are quickly realizing that these chairs are definitely our friends. We laid them on this spacing initially, and we have several places just with the weight of this bar right here. We are already starting to get some sag. So I'm gonna set up another row of chairs between everything that we have here all the way down to the end. And then Roman is going to start cutting the next set of perpendicular bars that we are going to be running. So these number 6s where we built the stirrups, they are serving as our perpendicular bars, but we're actually going to have a number 6 every 12 inches going all the way across. So we are going to be putting a lot of weight on that bottom mat of rebar, hence why the chairs are our friend. And then we're actually going to have the same thing every 12 inches on our top mat. So everything we see down on the bottom right now, we're gonna be doing on the top, and then we still need to add in our perpendicular pieces. So, like I said, there's a lot of rebar.
lots heavier than that looks. So our rebar tire just ran out of our first spool of wire down here. This thing is an absolute lifesaver. I've been able to lay in and tie every single intersecting joint on this entire bit completely by myself, and I've done all this in like 20 minutes. And it also just so happens to be that our bars are on 12-inch centers, and my foot inside of my boots is pretty much exactly 12 inches. So I just gotta lay my foot in here like this, touch it on the toe, touch it on the back, then that's my built-in jig. Take a look at this. We have ourselves a bottom mat that is suspended 2 inches off of the bottom of our trench footing, and then we have our stirrup right here that is holding up our second mat. So now I just need to climb in here, and then every 12 inches, just like what we have on the bottom down here, we need to put our number 6 piece running perpendicularly, go all the way down, and then we will have bottom mat, top mat done over here, and then the only bits of rebar that we are missing are our number 7s that will attach down here, and then they'll bend at 90 degrees and then shoot straight up right through here. So I actually have a row on this side, and we'll have a row on this side, and those will be every 12 inches as well. So like I said earlier, a lot of rebar. We're running into a little problem we did not think about on the bottom with the rebar chairs. We put a set there, and then 4 feet away we put another set, but we're pretty much every 8 feet with our stirrups. And so now we're running into the issue of our top mat is starting to bow down. If you look how far below the top of our form board this top mat is compared to where it is at the stirrup, you can see how much it's sagging down. So Roman's trying to make something right now where we can temporarily mount this up. Well, not temporarily mount it up, but just do it special on this set right here on this first run that we're doing, and then we'll know on all the other ones, just every 4 feet, we're going to have a stirrup. After a little bit of head scratching, Roman came up with an idea to be able to hold up our center part. It's not perfect by any means, but it is definitely going to do the job that we needed to do. The way to do this 100% right would be to take out everything that we have already spent the majority of the afternoon doing, and then putting in another stirrup. So I guess this is second best bet. I just have it tied down there, and then it's bent up, and then we tied it here, so it's holding up. And then we did the same thing, tying it down there. And so it definitely was able to lift it up a little bit. We're still a tad bit low compared to what it is there in the back, but it's definitely not bad. And I guess the thing that makes us feel a little bit better about this wall is the fact that this is actually going to be an interior wall. So there is not going to be soil pushing against it like there is over on this one, and on that one over there, and this one over here. So this one is going to be separating underground movie theater from an interior room. So I guess if we are going to have a little bit of sag in the top of our rebar, this is the one to do it on. And honestly, it's really not that bad. Not that bad at all. We're still in the top third of our concrete footing, so it's still doing the job that it needs to do, and it's holding back a lot of shear force of those vertical pieces that are going to come out. So it's still going to do its job. We're probably making a bigger deal out of it than it actually is, but we're learning our lesson on this one. So then that way over here, we're just gonna do the stirrups every 4 feet.
We're back to our cutting station, so we're gonna be trying to spit out as many of stirrups as we can. So we're gonna start marking these out, cutting them, and then pile them up, pre-cut, pre-measured, pre-marked, and then start bending them. Well, kind of feels like boring day, but the time actually flying by. All you're doing just making the same thing over and over again. Cole is in the hole trying to do his best to tie as many pieces as he can together, and I'm trying to make as many pieces as I can for him. So I'm hoping we can get it much more done next day and maybe ultimately get it done, but I just really don't think that's the case. And the bad weather is coming, so I hope God is gracious to us and can kind of push it away for us, or even maybe cancel the rain. We'll pray for that, but in the meantime we'll do our best here.
Ah, man. Ah. If you've ever done concrete before, or you've spent extended periods of time in your garden bent over, or just anything where you're bent over and your low back is absolutely on fire. I call it concrete back because that's where I experience it the most. The kind of on fire in your back when you stand up, that doesn't even help. And when you lay down, that also doesn't help. I'm experiencing that right now because there's a lot of bending over with putting that rebar in. So it's just another reason I am that much more grateful for the tire, because I'm able to do a lot with just the single tire by myself, where if I had to hand tie everything, I would be in there probably at least 5 times longer, so 5 times more bending over. So at the end of the day, your back would be really shot. We're at the point where I can just lay down for 2 minutes, and now I stand up and like, I know my back's there, but it's not absolutely throbbing. But take a look at this. We got our bottom mat, we got our top mat done, we got our stirrups completed. We learned our lesson about not having enough stirrups. So now this is ready to have our number 7s, J from the bottom mat, and then go straight up through our center 2 holes to come out for where our foundation wall is going to be, but we are not going to do those yet. We are going to continue on. I don't know if we're gonna go down this way, if we're gonna try to shoot an angle, or if we're gonna try to shoot right through here in the middle. I'm kind of liking maybe right here in the middle. We're wanting to leave that back way open, so that way we can walk through there to be able to get all of our materials in on that back side and into there, because if we do all that, then it's gonna make it, or if we do all that, then it's going to make it really hard for us to be able to get over there. We're gonna have to walk over this, which is kind of difficult. After doing a little consulting with Roman, we have decided the next area we are going to attack is this little cross piece right here, and then we are going to go 20 feet from this corner down to the middle on this side. That is where our rebar splice is located. So if we can do this before it gets dark, we're going to be doing pretty well. And it seems like this time of the year, as soon as 5:30 comes around, it is dark like that, and it is 5:32 right now, so we're going to try to get this done as fast as we can. There was a possum around here. Did he already climb the tree? There he is. Big dog, come back here. Where are you going? Hey, dude. What's up? Hey, I don't want to hurt you. I just want to talk. I just want to talk. You're not as fast as I thought you'd be. Hey, buddy. What's up? Okay, you go play in the alfalfa. I'll talk to you later. I had to run a ways to catch that possum. But as you can see, it is now dark, so I have a little bit of office work I'm gonna take care of here for a little while. We have some fertilizer prescriptions that we want to put on the fields to get our fertility levels to a certain point. And so I'm gonna sit down. Holy cow, I need to run more. I'm gonna sit down here, put together a few fields worth, and then I guess we'll go home, go to bed, and we'll get started setting more rebar tomorrow. I ended up getting done with the fertilizer stuff around 9 p.m. And then basically as soon as I got done, I realized that I did half of it wrong. So I'm gonna have to go back and do it later. But it is now the next day. They're talking 40-mile-per-hour winds today, so it's gonna be super breezy. Good thing we're laying down metal because that doesn't really blow around. But first thing before we get too wild today, we're gonna lay down some string lines, and we're just going to double check that we have everything square. Roman has already got started getting 2 of the string lines down. So he got one down in the area where we laid the rebar yesterday, and then he got one laid down in the middle of that footer right there. And so he actually measured that end to that end. You can actually see the string line right there. And then he measured from the string line right here to the string line right there. And somehow the back is 2 inches wider than what the front is. So that means we are not perfectly square. Now we stick out 60 feet, so being off 2 inches over the course of 60 feet, is that super off? I really don't know, but we're gonna try to figure out how we can pull that in to actually make it true, which I think we just need to move our end stake a little bit. We just wanna make sure that we're square coming off the side of the house. Because otherwise, I don't know if I can pull up an example right here with the board on the floor, but if we're not square going off the house, then let's say this is the house right here, and we have the underground movie theater, like it's supposed to be straight like this. If you're not square, then you're gonna be kiltered like that. Then when you're looking at satellite imagery, it's going to look all weird. And then you're also going to run into problems when you're trying to tie this side of the house in, because things are not square. But I don't know, 2 inches over the course of 60 feet, that is fairly square, but I don't know. We're gonna mess around with that. So the way we're gonna try to fix our being out of squareness is by taking the telehandler with a pallet on the end. We're going to boom Roman out to that board that's sticking off the side of the house. When we initially set our lines, we use that screw that's right on top of the board as the center point for our wall. So we're going to drop a plumb line down, and then we're just gonna make sure nothing got bumped down there. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side, and then we're gonna see if we can figure out what is going on with these string lines being out of square. It is 720 inches from the side of the house right here all the way down to the end over there. So being off 2 inches over the course of 720 inches, it is a small fraction, but we are still off. We should be able to get this perfectly the same from this side and that side. So I don't know, we've never done this before, so being off 2 inches for our first time, I don't think that's too bad, but we're gonna get it figured out so that way we're off 0 inches on our second attempt. For this part, Roman knows what he's doing and I don't, so I'm going to go do something that I know how to do, which is lay some more of this rebar, get everything tied down, and get it looking just like this. After Roman got his plumb line established and he laid down these new lines and kind of redid our squareness of things, we are now just 3/4 of an inch difference from right here over to the string line on the other side, and then all the way down at the other end from there to there. So just 3/4 of an inch difference over 60 feet. That is within an acceptable level. And honestly, if we really needed to, we can just bump this line over 3/4 of an inch. We need to get 2 steel tape measures so that way we can come in here and actually triangulate everything just to ensure that we are square. What we kind of think we ran into was when we were doing all the digging in over here, we kind of wonder if one of our stakes accidentally got bumped. We don't think this one did, but at the other end, we had a series of like 3 of them over there, and so it's very possible that we accidentally bumped one or hooked up to the wrong one. So we are now setting up string lines in the middle of all these other footings that we dug, and this one is giving us just a little bit of a problem. If we look over here, things look pretty good. We're in the center of the footing, but when we turn around over here on this corner, we are just a little bit tight. So what we're going to do, we're pretty much good up to like right here. So we're gonna set a couple more stakes behind this board, then we're gonna cut it, and then we're gonna unscrew it here on the end, and then we need to dig off 7 more inches from the side right here. So basically this board is just going to be butted up right into here, and then we just have to get that dirt out. Then we should be center with our string line, so when we get our rebar structure built in here, it's nice and centered up right where we want it. And then when we build our wall, it's in the center of our rebar structure, and then it's strong like it's supposed to be. Today is what I would call a cooking day. We were just cooking all the ingredients together, getting all the materials cut, getting a plan laid out. We did lose a little bit of time this morning trying to figure out everything with our string lines and getting that all done. And then when we had our dirt corner that we had to dig out, those things just kind of took time, and we're getting to that time of year where it starts to get dark extremely early, so we're kind of losing it on the back end. I will be the first one to admit I need to do a better job of getting here in the morning. I tend to work really late at night, and then I use that as an excuse of, well, I can show up at 9 o'clock, 9:30, sometimes 10 o'clock in the morning, and then we're losing those valuable hours in the morning where we have daylight. So in the morning, I'm gonna try to get here early so that way we can get started on things right away. They are talking rain in the afternoon tomorrow. My dad said there's a possibility of 2 to 3 inches, which that is not ideal for having a hole that is 12 feet deep in the ground, because we get all that water running in and then it carries a little bit of dirt with it, and then we could get some washing. So we're gonna try to get as much done as we can tomorrow. It is currently taking me 1 hour to do 20 feet by myself, but with today being a cooking day, meaning Roman was getting all the ingredients, all the rebar cut and bent, so that way tomorrow, hopefully we can just use all of our efforts to just get things set down into place, have one person setting while one person's tying, and then maybe we can get 20 feet done in 30 minutes. I believe there's 500 linear feet down there, so 500 divided by 20, whatever that is, that's how many hours it would take me by myself of laying it in. So if we could double that speed, we might be able to make a pretty good dent in it tomorrow. Alrighty-o, day number 3 of laying the rebar in the underground movie theater footings. We are going to try to get this bit of footing done today, and then we are also going to try to get the kick-out part done. And as for getting here at a better time this morning, I tried, but I will admit I was practicing my Spanish this morning, and the Spanish learning app that I use, they had an update and they were offering triple points. So I wanted to be number 1 on the leaderboards. So I will admit I had a 45-minute Spanish lesson this morning, but I am number 1 on the leaderboards right now, so that is good. At least we were doing something productive with it, but Roman did beat me here this morning, we'll put it that way. If we look on the horizon, we can see it's starting to get kind of dark over there, and we can see a little bit of rain falling from the sky. So before that gets here, we're gonna try to prepare ourselves as much as we can. One of the big problem areas is along the side of the house. All of the rain comes off the roof since we don't have gutters, and there's a big valley right here, and all that valley water comes shooting through and it lands right here on this. You can see where it's eroded a little bit, and then all that erosion just falls down into our footing, and then it silts it up. So like right here, we already have like 6 inches of silting down by that red barrel from a 1/2 inch rain. So if they're talking 2 to 3 inches, we could be looking at some significant silting. So what we're gonna try to do is lay down this tarp, and then it's got some little eyelet holes in it, so we should be able to stake it down with some rebar stakes. We're gonna try to drape that down over the side of this, so that way we can keep the water from falling on this, and hopefully that'll help prevent some of the silting that could go on down there. So we got the one tarp right here. I'm hoping I can find a couple more, because it'd be nice to do that side, and it would be nice to maybe do a little bit over there. If you look at that sidewall, you can see where more waters ran down on that side. So I think we may have some problems there. We'll probably have some problems here and right here, but the rest, we should have everything dug back enough. I think if we have any silting whatsoever, it will be very minor. But if we can get these areas, that would be really nice, because it's kind of annoying scooping things out of here. Whoa, you can see how much fell off just by me jumping. Like right there, you can see how that rebar got buried, and that was just from a 1/2 inch rain. So we're gonna try to do what we can, and that is the exact reason why we have not built our rebar cages in all of these areas along the walls yet, because if it does this, when we have the rebar cages in there, it's gonna be really hard to get in there with a shovel and clean things out. Whoa, it's coming. This is getting darker. Now it may look pretty insignificant right here with our tarp, but in this corner of the house, the entire quarter of the house, all the water either runs to that valley, which falls onto that roof and then onto our blue tarp, or it falls right on that valley and then it falls right there. So we really don't care if water gets down into our footing. That's why we put our tarp there, to direct the water down in, because we have rock laid in the entire bottom of everything, and then we have perforated drain pipe underneath of that brings all of our water down to the drainage ditch. So we're trying to direct the water in instead of letting it hit the sides and bring dirt. So that's the whole point of the tarp. Now I feel it's starting to sprinkle. I'm gonna see if I can find another tarp for that side right there, and then if I can find a third tarp for over here, that would be great. I don't know the last time this canvas tarp was used, but it smells like straight up 180-year-old old man. It does not smell very good. I think we got our tarps laid in just in time. This one's doing its job. That one over there is doing its job. And then that one, look, you can see everything hitting right there, working absolutely beautifully. And this is the first rain we've gotten in like 2 months. And so none of the leaves have been falling off of the trees until right now. That's kind of interesting. It's making a big tornado right over the top of the underground movie theater. Take a look at that. All that water running right down our ramp into there. Slowly eating that away. It's been raining for about an hour now. And take a look at this. We're gonna get wet. Whoo, burr, that is cold. We have a little bit of silting going in on that side. Very grateful we did not lay the rebar in over there. Whoa, whoa, a little bit of a shoring problem. And then over there, we have some more silting. But our tarps, look at that. Absolutely doing a beautiful job. And by the way, I want to mention this was Roman's idea, and it was a phenomenal one. You guys are wet! To be honest, as annoying as it is having this silt in on the side, I really don't mind if that silt's in, because we can at least get in there with a shovel and get it cleaned out. I just do not want the areas where we have the rebar structures already in to silt in, because that is going to be a royal pain to get cleaned out. But as of right now, it looks like we have not got any silting in there as of yet. So I think we should be okay. They're talking several hours of rain, so I guess we'll see when everything gets done. So I guess with it raining, there's not a lot that we can do in the underground movie theater right now. So we're gonna call it an early night. This is all we got for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.